I'm Rob Neilinger. How are you all doing today? So I brought my friend Nick Couch in, and he owns Next Level Electric. I think you're doing some other things too, but I really appreciate you coming in.
Definitely.
I put this out yesterday, just wanted to find someone to come in. Of course, I did it at like 9 o'clock last night, and you responded right away, and I appreciate it. So we're just going to sit here and talk a little bit. Tell us about what you do and how you help people.
Yeah, so I've been doing electric work almost my whole life. My dad was an electrician. It's really a passion of mine. Right now, I'm really hyper-focused on the electric car movement that's happening. I know you have some mixed opinions on the Teslas and stuff, but no, I'm naturally a car guy, and I love electricity, so it's like the best of both worlds, and then it kind of ties everything together with all the technology and the Wi-Fi connections and the smart stuff and the automated stuff, and so there's just a lot of cool things with the automotive world happening right now. I kind of compare it to like going from like the Model T or the horse and buggy to like the cars and the internal combustion engine. It's a big shift for the automotive and industrial transportation, all of your tractor trailers that are looking to go electric. I worry about that from an infrastructure standpoint. We live in like the trucking capital of the world here in Carlisle. What are we going to do when all these trucking companies have to start charging all their trucks? Like, that's going to take a lot of electricity, and I know you posted out there about the Teslas and the range anxiety and some of the stuff, so I think it's going there.
Did you see how many shares I had on that?
Like 500,000 or something crazy?
No, for like 50,000 shares.
I saw it was
50,000 shares is pretty.
I thought it was higher than that, but yeah.
So backing up a second, so like if someone gets an electric car and they need that electrical service put in their house, which you'd have to do it.
Yeah, you'll never charge it fast enough.
So that's what you go do.
Yeah, we do a lot of in-home. We want to get into more of the commercial charging stations. But the biggest thing for anybody with an electric vehicle that I'm seeing from the electrician standpoint is everybody goes and gets their hair on fire and they buy their Audi e-tron or their Tesla or their Mustang Mach-E. They get their car and they come home and then they call the electrician to get their charger. And then I have no good news because their garage is detached and their electric's coming from the house. So now we got to dig a trench and put wires underground, or their house is really old and they don't even have enough electrical service from the power company to power a charger. So now we have to do a $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 upgrade to their electrical before we can even start the charger. So I'm getting people with, I don't know, I'm seeing anywhere from $4,000 to $8,000 for like some really worst case scenario systems. So really, I would recommend anybody's buying an electric car, consult with your electrician, find a local electrical contractor. If you're local to Carlisle, we'd love to help. But
well, I know I saw my friend in Dillsburg was looking to get one put in his garage, and I messaged you and you went out right away.
Oh yeah, we did it like next day.
He was blown away, and I think you were cheaper than someone else that was quoting him that wasn't even responding to him. It was pretty amazing.
We try and get the electric vehicles to the top of the schedule because they need to charge their car. It's like, if they can't charge... I have a guy right now that just can't make up his mind. He's driving to Sheets to charge his car every night. It's like, that can't be productive. But,
it can't be productive.
But advice would be, talk to an electrician before you buy the car.
Before you do it.
Yeah.
So when I got those electric cars, my brother was my electrician because I didn't have to pay him a whole lot of money.
Yeah, we talked.
And he had to, like he told me he could do it before I got the cars, and he had them done before we got them. Now he had to trench and go under. Like I had to do a lot of work. It was still pretty expensive.
Yeah.
But the cars are fun. Don't get me wrong. I'm not against them.
Yeah.
I think they're more of a luxury than people think they are.
I think in 5 years when there's charging stations everywhere and you have them in your parking lot and the gas stations have them.
But the charging is more than gas.
Yeah.
It's not cheaper.
No. Yeah. I think we're still very
I think
early.
to charge them, they need to have 500 miles of range.
It'll get there.
And you need to be able to charge it at your house. Yeah. And it needs to be nominal. It's $75 to $100 a month to charge it at your house. But there's nothing fueling the fire out there in the world right now than these electric cars.
Yeah.
Like I have a couple like 500,000 views on TikTok. I don't even want to bring them to the top of my list because I don't want to be known as the Tesla guy or the electric car guy because that is an insane market right now.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we're focused right now. Because
do you know I'm sorry to interrupt. I think so. You could go buy if you're into electric, you can buy a van down at Ford that's full electric. Would you do it?
I'm not a van guy. I can't get into a van. I just.
What are you driving? A truck?
F-350. Not fuel. Not fuel.
Are you going to be able to drive an electric one of those soon?
If they make one that has the towing capacity, because we haul heavy machinery and excavators and stuff like that, so I need the towing capacity of an F-350.
Okay. But you probably would get 30 minutes of driving.
Yeah.
So you can't do it.
I make it to the on-ramp 81. Yeah.
They're gonna
someday
someday
it'll get there.
They're gonna need charging stations every on the highway to get you through.
Kind of like the turnpike where you have like the rest area on the turnpike you can pull in and charge.
Unless they get these batteries worked out, I don't think they're ever gonna be.
I mean, if you look at batteries, like specifically tool batteries, because I use so many of those.
Yeah.
If you look at a drill battery from today in 2022 to a drill battery when I was in
okay.
Votech in like 1998, I mean, you could run like 3 3-inch screws in Votech with one battery, and now you can run.
Now they go all day.
200 all day, multiple days. So technology's getting better, but I think we're still just super early in the electric car world. It's going to get there. It's just. So I'm trying to get in a position where when it gets there and we have like a vertical climb of demand and supply and things like that. But yeah, there's a lot of planning that goes into charging at home. Like I just did one in North Middleton Township for a lady. We had to do a directional bore across her front porch and sidewalk to get the power from one side of the trench to the other side without cutting her concrete. So I mean, there's just a lot of costs that can be involved if you don't have a plan. And then I get some that are really easy. The electrical panels in the garage, the charger in the garage, I can install that for $500.
Yeah.
So it just depends. I mean, definitely consult with an electrician.
So we've got from $500 to possibly $8,000.
Those are the best and worst of what I've seen.
Yeah. So $500 to $8,000 to put in your charging station in your home for your electric car. That's a good number. So what do you do besides electric car stuff?
We do emergency response work. We were out today putting some electric heat in for an emergency customer with a commercial building, had no heat.
Okay.
We do electrical panels. We do some work with the power company when storms come through and rip power wires down. We do knob and tube work. We try to avoid that at all costs. I mean, there's not many electricians that do the old knob and tube. That's like the 100-plus-year-old electricity wiring for home. We're trying to avoid that just because it's so dirty and hard on your tools and just it's not fun.
Yeah.
So we try to avoid that, but we'll do it for the right price. We do new homes additions. We don't do a lot of new homes. It's not really our cup of tea, but we have some good customers that want.
Probably don't do many flips, do you?
We've bailed some flips out.
Okay.
So we had a recent one in Gettysburg. It was some people that bought a mobile home to flip. They went through 3 electricians.
Yeah.
And none of them could complete it and finish it. So we were the 4th to come in. Nothing was labeled. Wires everywhere. Wires hot that shouldn't be in this room. Stuff buried above ceilings. So we came in and did an emergency cleanup on a flip.
Okay. So here's a pet peeve of mine, and I don't know if it is for you, is when I go into a house or my house and I go to my electric panel and nothing is labeled.
Yeah. Oh, and people don't realize, they're like, when we do a panel upgrade, like, can you label all of our breakers? I'm like, that's going to take like an entire day. Like, it takes so much time to trace what's on which breaker and to label it accurately. But yeah,
You would go into someone's house and do that, just label everything for them, because it's important.
It's not cheap.
Yeah,
it's not cheap.
I sent my brother back to my house to do every single one. Mine's all labeled now. I have like multiple panels. It's insane. Yeah. But I think knowing where it is can save you a lot of time, because you don't want to reset and turn everything off.
Yeah. But that's part of like the next level approach to why we chose the name, is like we do everything in a next level manner, like our work, our quality, colors we paint stuff, and like just the type of materials we use. But when we do a panel or we wire a house, everything is like over labeled, organized, color coded. Everything just makes sense. Like if you go to your panel box and we've been in your house, like it's clean, crisp. We use label. We have like a $600 label maker that it does stuff that I don't even know how to use. But it's like you can print vertical stickers, horizontal stickers. You can change your sizes and your fonts, and it does stuff that I don't even know how to do. And so we like leaving that like next level touch on our work.
So how do they get a hold of you if they want to?
Facebook's probably our best bet. I mean,
so just go on Facebook. Next Level Electric.
LLC.
Message you.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So Facebook's our bread and butter. I've done a ton of social media in my other companies, so it's just something I'm naturally good at. So I try to post every day, try and get good content, show a variety of what we do, good pictures, stuff like that. But social media has been our best friend. We've spent $0 in 2.5 years of the
You just keep posting actual jobs.
Just jobs we're doing, and then our customers are leaving our comments and our reviews, and then they're going and tagging. So like,
do you have any employees, or are you doing it all yourself?
No, we just hired our 5th guy.
Okay, cool.
So
now, do you get those people to send you pictures from the jobs they're finishing during the day?
My guys know to take pictures of what they're doing
and send it to you.
Yep.
Awesome.
But the biggest thing is like if somebody's in like a neighborhood group or a local like Carlisle, Mechanicsburg group, Cumberland County group, whatever, mom's group. There's all kinds of Facebook groups. if somebody posts in one of those groups, I need an electrician, who should I call? We'll get tagged usually no less than 5 times, sometimes in like 10 to 15 range, whenever every other electrical contractor might be getting 1 and a couple will get 2 or 3.
Oh,
like
awesome.
We are straight dominating. And then the customers feel really comfortable, like, wow, 15 of my friends just commented to use this guy. They call us in, they don't ask any questions, we go in, we get it done, we send them a bill, everybody's happy. But yeah, social media is the best way to find us and interact with us.
Well, social
don't send
media,
us an email. If you send us an email, you'll never hear back
social
from
media
me.
is what I constantly see of you, and that's why I referred you to Chris and Chelsea Fratelli on their electric car,
Yeah.
and I know they were very happy.
Oh yeah, we went there next day. We got them hooked up, and they were tickled. And theirs had a couple complications, like where their panel was out. We had to go through an outside wall, so we had to tear siding off outside, cut the sheeting off, fish wires through the wall, put the sheeting back. We had to put the Tyvek back. So like we don't cut those corners. Like we keep everything in our tool trailer. We repaired the Tyvek properly with Tyvek tape. We put all the siding back on because like I built houses before I was an electrician, so I know how to remove siding and put it back. I know how to cut in things.
I think their bill was like $875. That's a lot of work to do that.
It wasn't easy, but we got in, we got out in the same day.
Wow.
We had everything we needed in our trailer. That's why I don't like vans. I carry so much stuff in my trailer. I didn't even have to leave their house once to go get parts. I had everything I needed.
Wow.
The wire, the breaker. Yeah, it's like a mini Home Depot on wheels.
I like
it's that next level approach. You just, I mean, that's just me in life. Like I'm very high energy and just go, 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 go.
So you might have some questions. I see you have some questions, which is awesome for real estate, because we like to talk about real estate.
Yeah, and the one you kind of already talked about. So one of my questions was, from the electrician standpoint, I've seen some ugly flips where I went in and fixed repairs and corners have been cut and I don't know what the reason was or what happened in the flip, but I've seen some really, really shady stuff, some stuff I don't know how it got past an inspection. So what would your advice be for either the real estate investor, how to flip it without cutting corners and still make your profit margin? Is it shopping around and buying your material right, buying the property at the right price, having a plan?
I think ultimately it is the plan, and it is buying the house at the right price. We make our money every single time when we buy the house. Yeah. If we're not buying it at the right price, we are like backtracking the whole way, trying to make a profit.
Yeah.
And I think where a lot of times is these newbie people will hire a GC, like a general contractor, to do everything, and they're not really an electrician, and they're not really a plumber, but they're doing it all. And it's still not real strict for permitting or getting inspections in all of these areas. Yeah. Like Harrisburg, you kind of have to be licensed, so you're kind of limited in places like that. But I still think that becomes a problem. Yeah. Now, we still get home inspections on every one of our deals before we list it to try to catch some of that stuff. Yep. And if it gets caught, we fix it. Yep. We post that home inspection online. And even though we do all those things right, we still get in trouble. And, you know, I've had people take me to court and say we didn't do it. Like, we don't open up every wall of our house. So how could we be responsible?
Definitely.
But they see us making money as a flipper. And they want to hold someone accountable, so sometimes that happens.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't know the story on everything, but I've just seen some shady work. So more on the advice of like how to buy, how to do it, and how to still make a profit margin. Because if you're buying it as an investment, obviously that profit margin is important.
If you're just flipping houses on the side, like one house here and there, it is very hard. Like if you were to buy a flip on the side and say, okay, I'm going to use my electrician people that are making, I don't know what they're making, $25, $30 an hour, and try to go flip a house with them, it won't work. We have to get people to do the work at kind of at a reduced price, but we give them lots of work. Yeah, and that's the hard part. And it's a science.
Turnaround time is important too.
Turnaround time is very important. Yeah. But we have found that if we're doing more and more flips, we can just keep those people busy, and they don't want to go deal with a homeowner, because homeowner jobs, they might make a little more money, but they will rip their hair out from dealing with a homeowner.
Yeah. And then next, so like I've been studying, following, watching your TikToks and some other real estate gurus and people and different stuff. Like
I'm not a guru.
I know you're not a guru. I'm saying I've been following lots of people. I've read all the books, the Grant Cardones and different stuff. So I always see like the BRRRR method or like you hold and rent. What's your preference or what's your opinion on BRRRR versus hold?
Do you know what the BRRRR method is?
Yeah, buy, rent, rehab, refinance.
Okay. So we were just talking about this morning. I just bought one in. So number one, you got to find the right deal. I bought a 2-unit in South Middleton, 2 houses on one lot for $165,000. Now they both were rented for $900 each. One was vacant and one was rented for $900. So if you just went by that math, till you buy it for $165 and put some work into it, it really wouldn't work. But here's the thing: we bought it for $165,000. We're putting $45,000 into it. Do the math. If you add those two numbers together, it's $210,000. I have the money, I have the line of credit to do it myself, but I just went to my private investor and said, hey, I've got a deal here. It looks pretty good. I'm buying it for $165. I'm all in for $210,000. I said, if you give me the $210,000 to buy this house, these two houses, I'm going to fix them up and rent them. So each one of those houses, so we'll be all in for $210,000. The seller let us work on the one. We were working a week and a half on it before we even closed because we kind of know the owner. Yeah. So he allowed us to. So we just got one of those done. We're going to rent those for $16.95 each. So now we're with 17 and 17 is $3,500 a month. So $3,500 a month
instead of $1,800, $900.
Yes,
yeah.
We'll cover that expense of $210 like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
So what we will then do is I told the investor doesn't see, they never want their money back. They want that 8%. So we'll let that coast at 8% interest only because it's pretty cheap. And then in a year or so we'll go to the bank and get a loan. Now it has to appraise at like 270 that property. So 270 times 80% is like $210,000. But we think it'll appraise for $300 now that it's when it's bringing in $3,500 a month, it will appraise for $300,000. Yeah. There's no doubt. Yeah. And it's in South Middleton School District. It's completely fixed up. It already had new roofs from the previous owner. We're just going in and getting the right amount of rent now. So that's the BRRRR method, and I still do it, even though I have like $2 million in the bank right now, probably closer to $3 million sitting in the bank. I still just use someone else's money, keep my money liquid in case there's a big problem or the world changes overnight.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm a big fan of failure. I've kind of failed my way through life.
You and me both.
And I feel like in the school system, like people that are like straight A students, they've never failed. So like they struggle with failure. Like I was barely passing the whole way through school. So like I'm very comfortable with failure. When I fail, I learn from it. My dad called it like it's a tuition of life. Like you're gonna fail and learn. So what would you say one of the best lessons you've learned through a failure?
So in 2008 we were home builders. And I actually saw pretty quickly, because we were tracking what we were doing, and I saw a building was losing $40,000 a flip. You know, every house we built, we lost $40,000. I did 3 in a row like that. So what I actually learned in that situation is to pivot. I said I couldn't do it anymore. So we actually switched and got into real estate as a real estate sales. We had to switch. So I think people get stuck in the way they've been doing it all these years and don't want to change. So if you don't change, you're going to be absolutely in trouble.
Yeah.
And we were flipping turnkey rentals out of Harrisburg this past 2 years. And everything we built, we sold and did quickly. Those aren't selling anymore. So we had to pivot again, and we're doing retail flips now. You just have to go to what can work. And we're really good at adapting and switching from what we're doing to something else without even thinking about it.
Awesome.
So if something's not working in your business, change it. Yeah. Quickly.
Yeah, and I just noticed that recently that a guy that I'm hiring is with a company that's kind of stuck in their ways, and we talked and we interviewed him. He starts next week, and just seeing what he's experiencing as an employee, where he's at, and how we do things, it's just like you've got to change. You can't keep doing things like you've been doing them since 1990. Yeah. So yeah, that makes sense.
And I have friends that have huge companies, lots of employees, 20, 30 employees. I don't have a lot of employees in each division, so we're kind of spread out, and we're actually leaner than we look. But some people that have too much staff don't get rid of staff quick enough. And I can tell you, if one of my divisions was not making money for a substantial 3 to 4 month period, we would be having serious talks about the amount of employees in that division.
Yeah, your overhead basically.
Yep.
And then I see some guys talking about using like whole life insurance and borrowing the money from it to put it into stuff like that. Do you have any advice on whole life insurance or using that to borrow money against? Or
I did listen to a lot of Dave Ramsey when I was in a financial disaster, okay? Like I was $1 million in the hole and I didn't have a way to pay it. So we did the Dave Ramsey crap to get on a budget, live below your means, all that stuff, which is good to a point, okay? And I do, something that sticks with me is he says just, get, he says to do a Roth IRA and just, that's, you want to put as much as you can in the Roth until you make too much money. So I did the Roth IRA and then just bought term life insurance. I think the whole life thing is a bunch of BS. There's no way I would do it.
Yeah. And then obviously the market's moving, interest rates are up, things are happening. What are you forecasting? What are you feeling in your gut how are you playing your cards with what's happening?
It is a really weird. The market is really weird. That's all I can say. I just listed one about 10 days ago in Shippensburg, $195,000 flip. Now, it wasn't a flood zone, and we knew that when we bought it, so we knew that could be a little bit of an issue. We had about 8 showings over the first 7 days, so it was slower than normal. In the past 2 years, we would have been having offers like the first night. So it took like 5 or 6 days to get an offer, and then another offer was trickling in. So I did get more than full price. They waived inspections. But the market's changing, and I can tell you, it looks like they're going to keep raising interest rates in the next year. I don't think we're done, and I think it's going to have a negative effect on. I think housing values are going to go down for the next 2 years, and then after 2 years, we're going to hit whatever bottom that is, and then we're going to go back up again. But I think we got to where we are at very fast. Like if they would have taken their time to lower the interest rates, it would have been a gradual 4 years to the bottom, 5 years to the bottom. I think we speeded it up, and I think we're within 2 years of the bottom.
Yeah. And then
are you seeing anything negative in what you're seeing?
I'm not seeing a slowdown in people spending money from like hiring us for like cosmetic projects, like projects that aren't like an emergency, like if you need a new panel because yours is arcing or burning or something, like that's, you don't have a choice. Like you got to do it. But like people that want like new light fixtures or under cabinet lighting added, or like Ring doorbells, or just little things that aren't like a need, they're more of a want. I'm not really seeing a slowdown in that from like people.
And you're not in the new home, I feel like new homes are going to slow down because everything is so expensive.
I try to avoid new homes just because it's not our cup of tea. And it's very competitive. There's a lot of people that can go out and string Romex and wire house. So we are more in like the problem solving, the troubleshooting, the emergencies. Our house is on fire.
The complicated stuff.
Yeah, the complicated stuff. Like they've already called 3 electricians. They can't figure it out. We come in and clean up the mess. We like the stuff that like nobody else can do, or coming up with a plan to get.
That sounds like
done.
job security to me.
It is, because I mean. And then we build that relationship, and they keep calling us back. So from our standpoint, we're not seeing much change in the wants.
Yeah.
It's slowed down maybe a little bit, but people are still spending money.
Okay.
And sometimes I'm like, I don't know. I couldn't afford me myself to do that. Like some of these projects, it's crazy what stuff costs with materials.
I know.
Like I tried to get a plastic junction box the other day, a larger one, but it was $380. It's like it used to be a $50 box.
Really?
Oh yeah.
So it's $50.
Maybe not 50, but it was substantially crazier. I got a metal box that would do the same thing in the application, and it was code compliant for $48. So PVC prices are up. Like a $12 stick of conduit a couple years ago is now $30. Like, so we're just seeing a lot of price craziness with electrical material.
You're not seeing it come down yet either?
A little bit, not much. Like Romex wiring's down to kind of like a normal range again. It was up to almost $200 a roll for 12.
What is it now?
Like 160, 170.
That was 160 was normal?
Yeah, it's
getting
getting closer. 150 would be a little better, but
I think as new construction slows, that price will come down even more.
But yeah, people are still spending money, so I'm not really feeling it with the interest rate changes, or people are holding on, or
What other questions do you have?
And then I was catching up on some of your TikToks last night when I was writing questions. You had that one where you called your daughters, nieces, and nephews, and you got them all to pitch in on an investment.
Yes.
If I've seen where like if I had a small amount of money, I could find a real estate investor and I could give them the money, like the earnest money or different things. What's a way that somebody that doesn't have a lot of capital, maybe they've got 1,000, 10,000, 20,000, they want to get into private money investing with somebody like yourself, or what's something like that look like, or advice for somebody with small capital to get into their first duplex? Or
I think that person that has 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, I think they just ought to keep saving, keep it going until they can buy that duplex. And it doesn't necessarily, so along the way, they don't necessarily need to go put 20% down. So I think if it was someone in your case, right, I think you're around so many people that have money that you're doing work for, you could find a private investor to give you the money and do the BRRRR method. That's what I would recommend for someone like you. Why spend 20 or 40 grand? I know what it costs to run a business and get all these employees up and running and get vehicles for them, but I think it would become more imperative, especially as you make more money and start to pay more tax, then you want to start getting into some real estate to help offset the tax.
Yeah.
But I think if you only have 1 or 2,000, I think you just ought to keep on saving. But get religious about it. Like if you're doing more work, you ought to be saving more money. I don't like this. Do more work and make the same amount of money. So you just have to
spend more.
You have to continuously watch that. And I don't know where you are in your tax situation, but keep in mind at the end of the year here, you can buy any vans or equipment. It's still 100% this year.
Yep.
Next year it goes to 80. So if you're buying a vehicle, it's better to buy it this year.
Yeah, we bought one last year in August, like kind of not quite the end of the year, but yeah.
I just ordered 2 vans from Ford Dodge, 2 ProMasters. They should be here in December. They'll be here in December, as far as anyone is concerned.
On paper, yeah.
Those things are $48,000 now.
Yeah.
3 years ago when I bought my first new one, it was $38,000. Now they're $48,000.
Yeah. Just everything's more expensive. And then the last one I got, your top success tip.
My top success
tip. What's your number one tip for success, business?
I think at the beginning you need to live below your means, because too many people want to have what that guy has. They want to have that car, so they get that car payment. They just live. They just do it too soon. And I think just waiting for your wants as long as you can and sacrificing a little bit longer. Like I wanted a Corvette for the last. Like I had one. Like 20 years ago, I had a Corvette, but I just bought one.
Oh, yeah.
I bought one in January, and I flipped it and sold it. So I even though I could have it paid off in cash, I still don't feel like I'm ready for it, especially with a lot of projects I've got going on.
Yeah.
But if you sacrifice and wait, my apartments make $50,000 net a month, and I haven't allocated. Most people, when they get to like $10,000 a month in passive income, will say, "Okay, I have $10,000. I'm gonna go buy a beach house with 5 of it." That kind of defeats the purpose, because till you pay tax on 10, you're left with 7, and now you take 5 out. Now you're only making 2 on your passive investment. So I'm at $50,000 a month on my multifamily deals, and I'm still not touching that money. So I just keep sacrificing. Now when the assisted living gets up and running, and maybe we're at like 150 a month, maybe then I could take a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just, the longer you sacrifice, the bigger the reward.
So delayed gratification would be your number
I would say that's what. If I would tell anything to a young kid, that's what I tell them. And I love bringing young kids in and showing them what we're doing. And of course, you get the nephews and my daughter. They did invest in that deal. They haven't got a payout yet, but I'm working on getting them a payout.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I wish I would have started in business and everything younger, because I've always had. I never had the entrepreneurial shift at a younger age, or I didn't understand business at a younger age. But like I was like the car stereo guy in high school. I literally built everybody's custom speaker boxes because my dad had a wood shop. I built custom speaker boxes, and with my electrical knowledge, I wired everybody's stereos. I changed their head decks out back when you could take a stereo out of a car and put a different one in, back in the cassettes and CDs and stuff.
Yeah.
But I was hustling the car stereo world in high school, but I didn't charge anybody money because it was like I enjoyed it. It was fun. If I had the entrepreneurial spirit that I have now in high school, I would have been.
Well, they don't teach us business. They should teach business in high school. They should teach you what you need to do to get ahead, and they don't do any of that.
No.
Nothing.
No.
They teach you geometry and trigonometry, which I don't know how that's going to help them.
No.
Social studies. I mean, what's it matter what continents we have if you can't balance a checkbook or save cash to pay for your food?
It's just like electrical. Like I do all kinds of crazy electrical calculations and formulas and motor loads and circuit calculations. I mean, there's a lot of math that goes into electricity. I failed math the whole way through. Like, I didn't even know what X times Y was. Like, I take 120 volts and 2,000 watts, and I can calculate what the circuit is. Like, so yeah, I think some of that crazy math it's not necessary. Like, we should be teaching kids investing and managing money and a checkbook and.
Yes. So yeah. Well,
I think that's all I have on questions.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming in, and thanks a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.